Hi, this is Jasmine Mbye on Luton Urban Radio, part of the dynamic duo with Lenny T. Today, we have got an amazing lady that we're interviewing. Her name is Daniela Svampa Cowie, and she has overcome so many things in life. But I thought of this woman because I'd heard a bit of her story, and it was one that touched me because not only had she encountered domestic abuse, but she's written several books, but the one that really caught my attention was A Reason to Love Them. And I could sense from Daniela through the indirect interactions that we've had that she's a woman full of compassion. And although she speaks against domestic abuse, she does so with love. And I know that she's gone on to train to support others around the issue of domestic abuse. So Daniela Svampa Cowie, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me today. I had a cancellation. I had somebody else initially to come along, and Daniela graciously stepped in. And actually, I think that Daniela's got a richness to add to today that really excites me. Not only, as I said, that you've experienced domestic abuse, but you actually now support both perpetrators and those that have suffered domestic abuse, which is phenomenal. So I want to, if I had a hat, I'd be taking it off to you right now, Daniela, because honestly, that's really special. So I want to start off because we've had a bit of a theme going on this show, learnings from lockdown. And I mentioned just a moment ago that there's been an increase in the number of reportings of domestic abuse. I think they were saying something like 100 calls a day were going to the police in relation to domestic abuse. And you've been supporting people. And so what's been your learnings or observation from this lockdown period in relation in particular to domestic abuse, but also more generally?
I mean, the lessons have been plenty during the lockdown. But yes, there has been an increase with clients that are going through the domestic abuse on some sort of level or another. Because again, the term, when we think of domestic violence or domestic abuse, we tend to think of battered women, but actually it's much more varied than that.
That's right.
There is so many roads you can go down to describe domestic abuse. It could be financial, it could be mental, psychological, as well as physical, emotional,
sexual.
Oh gosh, yes, that's
coercive control.
But that's the other thing as well. We think of the adults, but actually even the children. As long as you're above 16, you call it domestic violence or abuse anyway. But even the children, they are in families. They're actually living in domestic abuse.
Yeah.
They're living through it. They're learning through it.
That's a sad thing, isn't it?
It is very sad, but I'm a great believer that everything is for a reason. And we're all here to learn. And sometimes we're here to learn from a very young age. Yeah. And that's why we become stronger, and that we become the light that help other people see.
Oh, I like that. I love that whole idea of the light. That's my thing, Daniela. Yeah, so I agree with that. And you can go through dark times. That doesn't have to darken or dim your light. In fact, light is seen greatest in darkness. So it goes back to the question that Lenny asked me, which is, sharing, what's your thoughts on that? And I think actually the power that comes through sharing our stories is that it's allowing our light to shine. And that actually can light the path for somebody else to follow.
Absolutely. And you let them know that they are not alone, because a lot of people in these circumstances, they tend to feel very alone. They believe they are alone. A lot of the time, they don't even realize that they go through domestic abuse or domestic violence. It's only when they come through the other side that, again, I've got to be very careful because my sessions are confidential, but there are people that... it's only when they walked away that they start doing certain things and they feel like they don't need to ask for permission.
Yeah.
And then they realize, oh my God, I cannot believe that I had to ask for permission to do the simplest of things. right? So I'm having a lot of people that were actually gone, they come out or just come out of this situation. Other people, they are still in it, and they're trying to gather the courage, the strength, the confidence to be able to walk away or to make a stand for themselves. Because again, the inner battles that we have, I know, going through those hard times, why do we actually fall into the perpetrator's hands, actually, the perpetrators of domestic violence hands, right? We fall into it because we tend to be rescuers, because we tend to be fixers. So therefore, we'll go and try an excuse, and we call it forgiveness, but actually we excuse a lot of things because of fear, because we try and justify the behavior. So it's hard to come away, because they say one more try, one more try, one more try. And when is one more try enough? Right? So sometimes it's only when you think some things is not working, you don't even know why, but eventually you do get the strength to move on, and you realize how deep in it you were.
It takes on average about 7 times for a woman to leave. 7 attempts before she'll leave for good, as opposed to go back. I never knew that. Quite a high number.
But a lot of the time it's because of low self-esteem. And here, actually, I have to say both sides, the perpetrator as well as the survivor, the woman or the man, because it can be both sides. It doesn't necessarily have to be women that are being abused. It goes the other way too, but both sides actually do suffer from low self-esteem. We tend to think of the perpetrators as somebody really confident, really full of themselves and all of that, but actually it's because they have no confidence, because they have low self-esteem, that they feel the need to step over others, to be seen, to be heard, to feel powerful, to feel important. So it's building up both sides to see the gifts that they are, and the gifts that they have in their own rights. So because it's so easy for us to point fingers, and that's where in my second book, the one you mentioned, A Reason to Love Them being the perpetrators. It's so easy for us to point fingers to people who are doing wrong, but actually who's allowing them to? People will treat us as we teach them.
That's very true. And I think I mentioned this in the conference that I did, the Women Like Me conference. And I said, I had to look at myself and think, okay, how have I got here? How have I allowed this to persist? And it's not excusing abuse. It's not excusing the bad behavior, the wrong actions and whatever that's taken place, but it is about acknowledging each and every one of us has our own power. And we give that away.
And we need to take responsibility. It's about
responsibility is reclaiming your power, because you're acknowledging my life is my responsibility.
We are responsible for our lives. Our lives belong to us.
That's right.
So, and every time we say he did, she did, we are giving away our power, because I don't have to stand for it. I can choose. We always have a choice, sometimes out of fear or out of low self-esteem. We always have a reason. One of the examples that I often give when I go and give the talks is my experience with my ex-husband. It could be so easy for me to point that finger and say how he's done me wrong, what he's put me through, what he did. But actually, I need to take responsibility for my life. I chose to stay for as long as I did. I chose to enable. I chose to clear up and tidy up the path of destruction he was leaving behind him every time he went off and smashed things up, or threatened or whatever. I chose to stay. Yes, I was afraid. I was very afraid. It was my fear that kept me trapped, not him. I could have chosen to walk away.
And that switch is what's really important. And it's not a judgment if that switch hasn't happened yet. It's just about understanding that switch is what it takes for each individual predominantly is women, but you know, whether it be a woman or a man, it's about that switch of kind of, actually, I have to choose that I can't do this anymore, and I don't want to do this anymore. And until that occurs, then the probabilities I'll keep excusing, clearing up, as you said, and you know, the behavior is likely to just continue. So what I wanted to find out, Daniela, is why did you start sharing your story?
I shared my stories again because my intention was always to help others. I walk the walk. I come through the other side in different aspects. I mean, in my first book, the first book I released was 3 years ago, and it was A Reason to Love Me. So the journey in search for me to love me, because I used to hate me with a passion, you know, and throughout my life, I went through a variety of situations: abandonment, rejection, eating disorders, domestic violence, self-harming, self-hate, and a severe attack in London that almost ended my life. So I realized through my counseling, as I was helping my clients, and I was using my life experiences to give them examples and things like that, how much that gave them hope and strength, and the realization that they weren't alone. It just helped them tremendously. So I said, okay, I could be of use further here. And I said to my husband, my current husband, even if I could help just one person, that book would have been worth it. And hence then taking the step to write the first book, A Reason to Love Me, and disclosing all details. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I can
imagine that would be quite traumatizing, and potentially as well, because you recount all of the stuff.
Yes, and I did it in details. I actually talked through it as if I'm talking to you. That's how I written the book. I didn't even edit it or anything, because I wanted, in fact, people, they read it, they said, oh my God, it's like hearing you talk. Because it needed
Italian accent and everything.
Yes, commas everywhere, because that's where I pause, and I would not put a full stop. I'm still talking. You know, but again, it's because I wanted people to feel the energy, to feel the passion, to feel every bit of the emotion, that if you actually go there and get somebody else to change, that will not come through as genuine as it was meant to come through. And I've had a great response. So people that contact me on all sorts of social media, privately especially, to actually been able to actually release. They told me that private stories that they didn't dare to share prior, and now they got the strength, the confidence to actually, I can do something about it. Some people can relate, people can understand. There is other people out there like me, you know, and together we stand stronger. Because we don't feel alone.
Definitely.
You know?
We are. The sum is greater than the parts, isn't it? When we come together, it's not about the two of us, for example. It's now like there's three people, because what we're able to do and achieve together is so much more than what we can do and achieve on our own. So fantastic. So what I want to know, Daniela, is what would you tell your former self who's in the thick of that domestic abuse situation?
I would tell them that this is going to sound harsh, okay? But it's not meant to be harsh. It's meant to be empowering, okay? If you are happy, it's because of you. If you are miserable, it's because of you.
Wow.
Right? It's our life. So I would tell myself, it's your life. You always have a choice. You always have one decision, one thought from a different life. So you have the power to choose at all times, without judgment, without beating yourself up. You know, it's just being able to actually look at you, because when you do right by you, because a lot of the time we're stuck in it as well, especially if we have children like I did. So I would be like, oh, but I can't leave because my children will not have a father, and it's not fair on them, it's not fair on him because I'm taking away the children. But actually, when I do right by me, I do right by all.
And that's
Because
something you said earlier. Just say it one more time, because that to me is just like, oh, if we could get this. I'm speaking from the female perspective now, because as you mentioned, a lot of the times, you know, I think it's, you know, 8 times out of 10, the domestic abuse person that's suffering is a woman, and typically children are involved. And that's often the reason why she's staying. But just say what you said again, because it's really powerful. If we do right by ourselves, repeat that.
When I do right by me,
yeah,
I do right by all, because I'm only responsible for my life.
yeah.
And only then I can be the light for others. But if I don't even stand up for me, how can I teach others? My children were watching or listening. You know, no matter how much you try and hide it, as I did, you know, they pick up on the vibes. They see mom is not happy, right? So when I do right by me, I choose to actually show others my strength. So my children are stronger because of it. But also I was teaching my ex-husband, because while I stayed, I was teaching him that his behavior was okay. I'm reinforcing, I'm enabling that behavior. But when I say, no more, I'm teaching him, okay, you want your family, you need to do something about it, because the way you're going, we gotta go, because this is harmful, this is dangerous. You know, and my children will be learning to become, perhaps one day, that person. And also, if they want to be abused, they will be learning to stay.
A lot of I'm going to say women again, who stayed for the children. It's for this desire to have an intact family. They want the children to have both their mum and the dad. Miss that bit. Your children are either learning to be an abuser or they're learning to be abused. And we absorb more from what we see and what we hear, not what we're told. If you tell me, don't do this, don't do that, but you show me otherwise, I'm going to go by what you show more than what you tell. So it's really, really important, you know, to think about the environment that our children are growing up in.
And you know, when we are young, 0 to 8, that's when we form our beliefs. You know, that we are the hard drive that's the hard drive of our life, 0 to 8. So everything, and children, you know, they're sponges, they absorb everything.
My 2-year-old, oh my goodness, I literally say a phrase back to her, don't speak to me like that, just don't speak to me like that. So literally I'm like, Lord, it's been a tough old time, but if I hadn't done this, what would she be saying to me now? What would she be exposed to? So it's been really tough, but I do see the benefits, because the environment now is healthy.
A lot of the time, people like you and I, you know, that have experienced or have walked away from certain situations, you know, there is a guilt that comes with it. Okay, again, it's everything in life is a matter of perspective. It's how we look at things, from which angle we look at things will make the whole difference, because situations don't change. Situations just are. But the way we look at it makes all the difference. So from where you're standing, from who you are, from the lessons you learned, you are going to feel one way or another. And a lot of us have learned because of, I can speak for myself, you know, I can only speak for myself, but already from my young age, and the Italian, because I come from Italy, so the Italian culture is the importance of family and how a family has to be 2.4 children, right? There is no leaving, no matter what the husband does to you, you're staying. When I actually left my ex-husband and I went back to Italy, one of my neighbors, there was a fete, and I was there with my mother. This man actually started shouting at me, what a bad, in front of all these people, what a horrible woman I was, that I left my husband and I should have stayed. Now, he was a wife beater.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not surprising he thought that, huh?
Right? So for him, it was like, no matter what, you stay. Once you're married, you do not leave. So hence why that belief can be trapped as well. And then, of course, with hindsight, you learn, that's one of the reasons why I did stay for so long. Because family are supposed to stay together no matter what.
No matter how dangerous, no matter how unhealthy, toxic, you just got to stay, because we are a product of our environment. So again, it goes back to what are we allowing our children to learn, and we got to.
And I learned that from a very young age.
Yeah.
You know. And
so another question for you, Daniela.
Mm-hmm.
If someone is in the thick of a situation that outsiders are looking in, family and friends are looking and thinking, this seems unhealthy, I think this is a domestic abuse situation, whether it be financial, coercive control, you know, physical violence or sexual, they suspect, you know, those kind of really serious situations. How can family and friends help someone? It can take like 7 times to leave, but how can they still try and help?
You see, that's the difficult thing, because a person will leave when they are ready to leave, not 1 second before. The one thing we can do for them is be there, is support them, is always be there, ready to listen, ready to welcome them in wherever they are, at any time of day or night. Let them know that we are there. Obviously, give them the facts, you know, the different places they can actually access, you know, so you let them know what is available out there.
Okay, that's good.
But
That's what I was
forcing
thinking.
somebody, we cannot force anybody, because they will only go back. Even if they leave, they will only go back.
Nothing
so
before you're ready, nothing
support,
before it's time.
Yeah, we can support, but we cannot make people do anything until they are ready. We can talk to them. You know, the main thing is listen to them, is supporting them. And when they ask for your opinion, be honest. Say what you see. And that changes, because a lot of the time they're not even aware themselves that they have changed. So point it out to them, you know, point it out, you know, or, you know, I noticed this within you. Are you okay? Because this is so out of character. You know, you used to be, I don't know, you used to do this, whatever, but you seem to be much more reluctant. Is everything okay? Make them aware of their changes, because a lot of the time they don't see it.
As you're talking, I can just recount myself. You're locked in survival mode. So, you know, you're not even aware, and you disconnect from yourself in order to survive a lot of the time. So you are completely oblivious to the changes that are ongoing within you, because you're just trying to make it through the day. So,
because a lot of the time as well, what we tend to do as the supporter, you know, we don't want to rescue, we want to support, which is very different. Because every time we rescue, we actually fight people's battles. We go and sort for them, which means they learn nothing. So they're going to repeat their lesson until they learn what they need to learn.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. So in order to learn, let's say you are in a car and you're going somewhere, but somebody else is driving, more than likely you're not going to remember how to get there. But if you are in the driving seat, you will remember how to get there next time. Right. So the same with our life's experiences. If let's say if my child had a fallout with his friends and say, right, I'm going to go and sort it out for you, and he will not learn the communication, the skills, the ways, or the strength or the confidence to go and deal with their situations himself. So he will recreate until he learns the lessons that is in this life to learn.
That's very good. And that's really interesting. Yeah. So it's not about trying to save.
It's only about supporting.
To enlighten and empower.
And also
you
not to
know that,
too
but
hard.
you just hit that nail on the head in a slightly different way, so that people realize swooping in there, you know, gathering that person up and taking them out, they're probably just going to go and get into another situation.
That's it, because they're going to recreate until they learn their strengths, their power, their self-worth, their self-belief. If they don't get those skills, they're going to fall into the next trap.
Yeah. Wow. Really.
Because
really good.
another thing that I always say in life, you know, it's like a movie set. So we are all, you know, the main character and the supporting act. So I'm the main character in my movie and everybody else is my supporting act. You are the main character, you're moving with all your supporting act. It's an intricate web of giving and imparting lessons. We are here to learn. We are here to grow. We are here to become enlightened more and more each day. And every movie has a bad guy, bad in bracket, right? Because how we're going to learn certain lesson, a lot of the time we learn more when things sting.
True.
More than when things are just smooth. There is no need to go deep and have a look at ourselves when things are smooth.
Yeah, we learn more in failure. That's for me one of my biggest learnings, that there's the failure is essential. Failure is necessary. It's not something to be afraid of, because actually that's where the greatest learning comes from
Yeah, we get down, we get the gems, and we get up again.
Yep, you get it wrong.
You know?
The next question for you, Daniela: what do you want survivors of domestic abuse, whether it be, financial, physical, coercive, all the online is another one that we haven't mentioned necessarily. What do you want survivors of whatever form of domestic abuse to know?
You're never alone. You are never stuck. You're only ever one thought, one choice, one decision away from a totally different life. And your life belongs to you. It's for you to live. Only you own it. Nobody has the right over your life. They got their own to live. They don't need yours. And you don't need to hold them up either to rescue them, because that's their job, to learn and become strong in their own lessons. Just take responsibility. One of the things I always say, the line of responsibility, if you imagine a middle line between you and the other person, between you and I, let's use you and I, right? If there is a line just between you and I, whatever I say, I do, I feel, I think belongs to me. That's my responsibility. Whatever you think, do, say, feel is your responsibility. We are here to support each other and learn from each other, because we're all unique, we're all different, which is great, right? But we're all different because we're all bringing something that is not in the world. Like, I'm honored today to have met you, because in my entire life, I will never meet anybody like you. So you bring a light, a version of a being that is not out there. There's only you. So what I learn from you, whether you do right or wrong, in bracket, by me, that's for me to learn. Whatever button you press within me, if there is a button press, my response, my feeling is mine, because I'm feeling it. So just remember the line of responsibility. If you're not feeling okay, there is something out of alignment within you. There is something that you got to learn, something you got to do, a thinking you got to change. It's your life. So take the power back. And it's only through responsibility and acceptance, no judgment, acceptance that if you are where you are, you're there for a reason. You're there to learn. Everybody plays a part, and every situation comes in our life because we need to grow from it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have come. So that through that acceptance, all of a sudden, you don't feel so bad anymore, because
acceptance is very empowering, isn't it?
Yes, but again, you can accept, but you can still leave.
People are afraid to accept it because they feel like, if I accept it, that's it. It's the end, game over. But actually,
it's the beginning.
I found it is exactly that. You accept it, and it's like, okay, so this is what it is. And the question that seems to come next is, so now what do I want to do about it? Am I going to stay? Am I happy with it? Am I not happy? Do I want to leave? It then just gives the ability to start thinking about, right, what's the next step from here? Whereas when you're fighting it, that's where your energy is. That's where your focus is, as opposed to, okay, this is what it is. This is where I am. Right. What next?
Yes.
My last question
also,
for
acceptance
you.
doesn't mean you got to stay.
That's right.
You can accept and leave. You can still love them and leave. Because, that sentence, be cruel to be kind, I don't really like that saying, but in reality,
but it's true.
It's true. Because it's because you love them and you're doing right, but both of you, because as I said, you're teaching them that their behavior is okay. So you are actually showing them more love by standing up for you and leaving.
Yeah.
Only then they can say, oh my God, what have I done? What am I doing? Hence why some of the clients that I have, they now come because they realize that they're losing the loved ones in their life. And they say, I don't want to be that man anymore.
Now you just led on to my next question beautifully. So we do, and we have acknowledged throughout this that, you know, domestic abuse does affect men. So I want to reiterate that. However, overwhelmingly, women are the vast majority of those who suffer domestic abuse, and therefore typically men are overwhelmingly the perpetrators in domestic abuse. So what is it that you would like men to know? Because as you mentioned, you actually get men coming to you saying, help, I'm this guy and I don't want to be like that.
That's it. But again, it's removing the blame. We're going back to that taking responsibility. If you, talking to the men now, you know, if you feel, if we're talking to the perpetrators, I'm just going to use that word because, as I said, you know, it can go either way.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, if you feel that you are actually harming somebody or that you are not okay and you're trying to get things one way or another, control, money, different dressing or whatever, if you are not okay, if you feel that you have to do it by force or by coercing, you are out of balance. You are, not the other person. Whatever you feel belongs to you. Again, the line of responsibility, what you feel belongs to you. What you do belongs to you, is your responsibility. So if you feel that what is coming back at you or the result is not what you want, again, seek help. Another thing that is really important that I want to tell them is that they are not bad people. Nobody is born bad. You're either born ill or you have learned the behavior. So the person is not a bad person. The behavior is bad, which is very different.
Differentiate. Yeah.
So the person in itself, we are, if you believe in God, you know, we are of God. If we, or the universe or starlights, right? So we are amazing beings, right? But we are either ill, in which case we need medications and looking after, or we have learned the behavior that doesn't serve us, whether we witnessed it, whether somebody taught it to us, whichever way. So again, beating ourselves up doesn't help. We're looking for solution, not for anywhere to actually point the finger and place blame.
Yeah.
Because blame keeps us stuck. Looking for solutions brings about a different outcome. It looks for change. It looks for working together to learn from where am I going wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and then try to do different. So if you feel that the outcome you're getting is your partner, your wife, your husband in tears or in bruises or wanting to leave, then you know that your behavior is not helping you. You're harming you and you're harming the other person. You are going to end up being alone, which is self-harming, if you don't want to be alone. And you are hurting people around you and the example to the children and all of that. So it's all a negative impact. So if you see that there is a negative outcome out of your actions, out of your thoughts, out of your words, seek help because you are out of alignment. Go find you. Go get self-esteem. Learn a different way of being or speaking that's going to get you the outcome that you want, that feeling love, the sense of self-importance, which can only come from within, not from the outside.
Very
the one
true.
on the outside that we're all looking for, it's just, it doesn't last. We become weather dependent. So as soon as you remove the bit of pumping yourself up, you're left feeling down again. But if you got it within, you know, you ain't going to be swayed by the wind. You got it. You own it.
Yeah.
You know?
Agreed with that.
Because happiness, confidence, all of that, we all have it within. Even when we are sad, even when we are hurt, we still all got it within ourselves. It's just been covered by yellow, gray, blue stickers, and we just dim that light. But we still got the light within. So go to a professional, find a different way, speak to somebody that can actually help you, guide you. Like clients that come to me, they say, you know, anger, rage, and, you know, I need to do something. Anger is bad. I need anger management. I need anger management. Again, anger is not a bad thing. Anger is just an emotion like any other.
It's how you manage the anger, isn't it?
It is.
Does the anger control you, or can you control it? It's like fire. Right. That's the best illustration that I like to use. People often think of fire as being something very, very negative, in the same way they think of anger as being negative. However, without fire, the world would not exist as it is. We need heat. We need warmth. You know, right now we don't want central heating because it is warm enough without it. But, you know, on a normal day in the UK, we need that central heating. And where does that heat come from? An ignition that occurs in our boiler. That's what allows our homes to be heated and keep us warm and alive. You know, so we need fire. And if fire is contained, it is a good thing, just like anger. If it's contained and if it's used to and it's moderated, then it doesn't have negative ramifications. Actually, it can indicate that, like you said, this isn't right. I feel angry about this. So I need to find out why. What is it that's
angry? It's a signal.
How do I want to manage this situation as a result of what I'm feeling? I often say feelings are like the indicators on the car.
Yes.
You indicate left, you indicate right. Your feelings there, it's indicating something. Just because I put my left indicator on, I haven't turned left yet. The indicator's just on. So I then have a choice. Do I turn left with the indicator, or actually do I want to turn the indicator off? I feel angry. Do I want to do something and allow the anger to come forth? Because sometimes actually, maybe it is right that I shout. Maybe that's appropriate, but it's not always going to be. It's about having that ability to assess and control.
Anger is just another emotion. Like all emotions, they are guiding us. They're just signals.
Yeah.
How we use them, it's a different thing, because it's like you could say, people, you know, of course, love, people use the word love in different ways, right? But love could be actually used to smother people.
Yeah.
Right? So everything is how we use it. The signals are there for us to say, am I okay with this? Am I aligned with myself? Am I feeling okay? If not, then you have to find a way of expressing. So when you're angry, perhaps look at children when they get angry, right? They might not have the vocabulary to express what they want to say. Yeah. So they lose it.
I know about that. I got a 2-year-old, yep.
You see? Yeah. And that's the thing. And as we grow up, we do the same when somebody's talking and we want to win them over to our way of thinking. So not only we're not respecting what they're saying or the difference of opinion, let's agree to disagree, we want to win them over because in order to value me or to feel important or to feel actually I got it right, I need you to agree with me. And if you don't, I'm going to eat you alive. And so that's misplaced anger. But the fact that you feel it coming up, you know that there is a need within you that is not being met, but you can meet it in a different way.
Good. That is really important, I think, to understand there's something there. Check what it is.
That's right.
You don't have to act on the emotion. Check what's really going on, because quite often what's at the surface is not actually reflecting what's going on down below.
That's right.
It can be the insecurity, you know, the fact that I didn't get affirmed, valued, or whatever when I was growing up, and now I'm trying to seek that. Or, you know, I had a family member who had anger, and actually what that came down to was a hearing issue. And so therefore an inability to communicate, because it's here to learn the language to then express, and that's where the anger was rooted in. So there's something, but you've got to find out for each of us, because like you said, we're all different. What is the something for me going to be different to the something for you?
That's right. You know, that's another thing that we learned from when we are young. Have you heard it? I actually put in my book, my second book, of the Cartman relationship drama triangle.
Yes. Is that the persecutor,
victim and rescuer?
Rescuer. Thank you. That's it. Yes. Yes.
Right. And that is a game that we have all learned to play.
Yeah, my daughter's playing it every day now. Yeah, that's true. That's so true.
Yeah. So it's daring. The more you get to know you, you become confident within you, without the need. Again, you stay in that line of whose responsibility is it, without rescuing, and no need for the victim because you're confident in yourself, without shouting because, again, you don't need to win anybody over to your way of thinking once you are staying on your side of whose responsibility is it, you know. Then you step away from the game, because a lot of domestic violence situations are based on playing that game,
that's right.
only turned up a notch or 2 or 10.
Yeah, agree with that.
But when you look at it, you will see all the explosion, or when they feel sorry again. I had a boyfriend, my first boyfriend. Again, he was very like hands-on and all of that, trying to strangle me and all of those things.
Wow, yeah.
So even with that, at first he would become the aggressor, you know, on the triangle kind of thing, and then it will become the victim, and there's me rescuing, and the game was all that all the time.
So my last question, because you touched on it a little bit there, because you know, we kind of indicate that no one's born bad, and you know, you get men, I'm going to say, but perpetrators coming to you saying, you know, this is how I'm showing up. It's not the way I want to show up in the world. You know, I don't want to be that person that breaks my family down and whatever else. But you've got some people that commit domestic abuse who have no remorse. The narcissists. Obviously, they're not going to come to you because they don't even think they've got an issue. What your thoughts on that?
You know, I actually read one in my Reason to Love Them. There is a chapter on domestic violence and one on narcissists, you know, and a reason to love them as well. Because again, they will only learn okay, how can I put this? You know, in life, we are all here to learn our own lessons for our own life purpose.
Yeah.
Right? So we are going to need, like I said earlier, every movie has a bad guy. In brackets, so somebody, you know, they're gonna play that part. I don't know if you saw the Joker at the cinema, right? Yeah. There is a story as to why it's like that. So he's learned to play now that part because of what is learned. And sometimes people change and learn quickly. Sometimes they need to impact the life of 10 people. Or 20 people, because then 10 people and 20 people need to learn the lesson before they can learn their own. Some people, they will be like that until they die, because that is their journey. They're here to teach us the lesson. For all of us, they are rescuers and fixers and all of that. And we need all different colors of shapes and situations and people are needed for us to learn and grow in this life. We are walking each other home all the time. So sometimes to stand up, to become stronger, more confident, to see, I didn't leave my ex-husband for me. I left him because of my children. Yeah. Right? Because I didn't love me enough. I love them.
Yeah, I think for a lot of women, I think that is actually the factor.
Right? So it's through different reasons as to why then we move on. And some people, some of the perpetrators will learn from it. Some of them might take, like us, like you say, the women might take 7 approaches before they leave.
Yeah.
The husband might take 7 relationships before they learn that they're going to change. Right? Everything is a divine timing. Another example I can give, if you imagine a massive tapestry with billions of people, we're all stitching our own design. When we come together, we stitch a design together. And it's only when the picture is finished that we're going to get our lessons. We're going to get to see what it was all about. Not while we are in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So
very gracious woman you are, Daniela. And I love your perspective on it. And that's what this show is all about, finding out what people's take on life is. And to be honest, I hear, you know, I've heard a lot about domestic abuse, but you do come from such a place of compassion. I think it's really beautiful. And what I really love about what you shared with us today is that compassion isn't about excusing.
No.
Taking ownership for ourselves and actually saying, this isn't, it's not a standard, this doesn't honor me. So let me remove myself from that situation and actually love that person more by giving them an opportunity to really learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we do right by us, we do right by them.
Yeah.
Always, 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 always. And it's so important because, again, forgiveness, compassion, although we extend it to them, it frees us.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we are trapped. If we don't forgive, if we don't have compassion, we keep pressing the replay button of what has been. So, okay, I left my ex-husband 13 years ago, 14 years ago. Wow. But if I kept thinking about it, well, I'm still there, aren't I? I've got nowhere. I'm just still feeling all the anger, all the hate. Well, it wouldn't help me. He's not feeling it, I'm feeling it.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think you're right there. They say that unforgiveness is like drinking poison. Expecting the other person to die. Yes,
yes. Absolutely.
But for so many of us, we didn't get that memo, or it takes or we do.
I didn't get that memo for a long time, you know. But I realized that actually, when I finally got it, it did make sense because I started living my life. Because while we hate, while we keep reliving in the past, we miss the now. I'm missing you. I'm missing my husband now. I'm missing my children now. If I were to see about all the people, if I had to think about all the people that done me wrong in my life, you know, my attacker, my ex-husband, my ex-boyfriend, my father, well, who's living this moment? Because I wouldn't be. I'm living in a memory.
Wow.
I need to create my life.
3 books, you said? Or is a third? You've got your...
The third one is not out yet. I have 2 books at the moment, and one in collaboration with 21 other women, which we're actually doing a book launch this Saturday.
Aha. So where's that? It's on an Eventbrite. The details are right for the book launch this Saturday.
Yes, it's on Simply These Events.
Simply These Events. So head there.
What I will do, I will message them to you perhaps, and then if you can, I'm not very good with technology, so I might have to message them to you, and then you can put them up.
You can share, because people might want to get in touch, and then we've got your 2 books.
Yeah, that's it. So this is my first book, A Reason to Love Me.
Yeah.
And that's my autobiography. This is A Reason to Love Them, breaking the chains of trauma.
Fantastic.
And offering all different perspectives. It's based on the first book, so I use my life as an example, but then I give reason on why to love the perpetrators, how to see things different. And this one is the life of a lockdown, which we're having a book launch this Saturday. 22 women. So it was during lockdown. We all got together, supporting one another through this time of a very lonely time for a lot of people.
Fantastic. Daniela, you've been amazing. I want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us today. I know that this is going to bless a lot of people, and it's going to empower a lot of women and maybe some men that need this message as well. So if people want to connect with you, have you got a website?
I do.
Send it to me afterwards.
Yes, I'll send it to you.
That was a look of, I do, but I'm not sure where I went.
Yeah, I need to go get my business card because I can never remember it. But they can find me on Facebook at Daniela Svampa Cowie or Daniela Cowie Counseling.
Okay.
And I also got a book page, so Daniela Svampa Cowie author. So
send me the details, and then I'll make sure that anyone who does want to connect with you can do. But Daniela, I want to thank you for joining us, and
it's been such a pleasure.
Shining your light and encouraging other women, therefore, and some men to do the same.
Definitely. Love for all. Men, women, we are one. Just expressed in very different bodies and ways and characters to learn. We are each other's mirrors, but we're still one.
Definitely.
So we got to learn.
I like it. Those are the final words of Daniela Svampa Cowie. And I want to thank you all for joining us and say, Daniela, good night. And I look forward to having that socially distanced coffee with you soon.
Yes, I look forward to that. Thank you for having me. You've been a star.
Daniela. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.